This is my Fox Body Mustang, and I'm going to be building this into a street legal drag car. And I'm really excited to announce that my frontal lobe has finally finished developing, which means I'm going to be putting the original 4i front end back on this car. And not only that, but I have all the parts I need to do a very cool build on this car, so now is probably a good time to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the episodes. Now this engine choice might upset some of you. This Mustang is Ford powered, and it's actually a pretty serious build. If you want to check this one out, it's over on my channel, the whole build series. I'm just a regular dude who wants to go fast on a budget. I can't afford to be building Godzillas or Coyotes or anything crazy like that, so for that reason, the Fox Body is getting a Chevy motor. The car is going to be getting a 4th generation 6-liter LS with a turbo 400 transmission, and this is going to be dressed with brand new stainless headers and topped with a Phytec intake, 102mm throttle body, and some big dog injectors that'll hopefully support the Billet Next Gen 78mm turbo. The engine is going to be controlled by a Holley Terminator X and supported with an intercooler, a race radiator with a Spall fan. We've got wastegates and blow-off valves. The car is going to be receiving a fully bent 10-point roll cage and a Ford 8.8 that's ready to be built. There's just one problem. This thing is a 4-cylinder, so the first thing we got to do, get this car in the garage and then we can start to pull the motor. Stinks. All right, looking at this car with the hood off, it's absolutely nuts just how much room there is to play underneath here. Like, this is a small engine, it's a 4-cylinder, but the big V8, it's still only 4 cylinders long. It's gonna fit in here no problem. And looking in front of the motor, like, we've got this big thick rad, we've got this huge spacer. Like, there's so much space in front of the motor, and the bumper is super roomy in behind here too. And sure, that motor's a lot wider, but look how much space there is. Like, that's insane how much more room there is between the strut towers on this car. I know everybody and their cousin does LS swaps, especially into Fox bodies, but I've never got to experience it and I want to see what all the hype is about. I know people say it's super easy to make tons of power, and I've seen lots of videos of people drag racing these things, but I've never seen any good build series on Fox bodies. There's no like front to back builds on YouTube that I've seen so far. So hopefully you guys enjoy watching this build as much as I enjoy doing the build. All right, we're now at everybody's favorite part of their builds, the first stripped bolt. So I'm going to give you guys a little pro tip on how to deal with this. Now, not only will this help you remove the part that's stripped, it'll also help you relieve some of your anger. God, this is nasty. Alright, I've sold this motor, so I want to try to save as many of these plugs as I can for the future owner. I'd also like to label them in case it's something that I'm going to reuse after I've swapped the motor. Stuff like this, I traced it over to the back of the alternator. You can see it comes around here onto the back side. I'm guessing one is the charge wire, it's a big dog here, and then one's like a signal wire or something. Voltage maybe, I don't know. Now, now comes the fun part. Whew. Let's see what we got under here. Those are all headlight plugs. Those were already unplugged. Oh, that's neat. Just slides right onto the coil with little terminals. Usually they're screwed on. It's very neat. That seems like basically all the engine wiring unhooked. You know what? This stuff kind of sucks. Let's do something fun. So I'm picturing it right around here somewhere. Maybe put an intake into the fender there. God, that's gonna be so sick. What do we think? Should we do it out the hood a little bit? It might look kind of cool. God, okay, seeing this in here, that's definitely motivating. Let's keep ripping this thing apart. That's so sick. Let me know in the comments if you think I should put the turbo out the hood a little bit. So, throttle cable comes in here and moves all this stuff around. It can move this piece, which I think is the transmission. This thing, which seems to be what would be primarily moving, which is also attached to this thing. But these butterflies don't really seem to move. Moves this thing. This looks like some sort of vacuum activation thing. I don't know. I don't know how this all works, but all I gotta do is take the cable off. Maybe one day I'll learn how to tune carburetors, but today's not that day. Power steering pump first. Why is everything stripping off of that? What the hell size is it? Well, that stripped off in a pretty epic fashion, so she's getting cut. Alright, the last fluid that needs to be drained out of this car is going to be the fuel tank. And I believe these have an in-tank pump, which means it's pushing fuel all the way out to the engine. So if I cut the fuel line, it should just drain what's in the line. It shouldn't drain the whole tank. If this has a mechanical fuel pump, I can't really tell. It goes up underneath there. So it very well could be a mechanical pump on an old carbureted car like this. If it is mechanical, that means the tank is probably going to be fully drained. And if that happens, I'm going to have to find some more buckets real quick. So let's cut this and find out. Here goes nothing. It smells gassy already. Come on. So basically no fuel came out of that. I'm guessing all of the fuel went back and just settled at the low point in the line, or it might have even gone all the way back to the tank. So that's good. There wasn't a lot of fuel to worry about. So now I think we're getting there. I think all we have to do now is engine mounts, and I guess transmission mount, and shifter, drive shaft, exhaust. Okay, maybe there's more to do than I thought. Let's get back to work. Come on. There we go. To be honest, I probably should have started with this. I have a question for you guys. Now that I've got the bumper off and the rad off, I can have a lot better look at this rad support here, and so far, I'm not impressed. It's pushed in here. There's a rust hole almost all the way through over on this side. Overall, it's just in not great shape. If I had a tube bender, this would be an awesome opportunity to just cut this thing off and bend up a piece of tube to replace it, but I don't have one. So my question is, should I still try? I could cut this thing off at the frame over here and just build a new one out of square tubing, either 1-inch or 2-inch square tubing. I would love to hear your guys' opinion, whether you think that there's any advantage to doing that. I might be adding weight and sacrificing strength. I have no idea. All I know is that I'm itching for a fabrication project, so even if you guys have never done this before, let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see me try doing it. Otherwise, I'll leave the stock one in here and we'll keep moving with the project. Okay, I don't have a hoist, so it's gonna be really hard to film under the car, so I'm just gonna walk you through what I'm gonna do instead of trying to film the whole process. So we got our transmission cross member here, 2 bolts from the transmission come down, undo the mount to the chassis so the cross member can drop down. Then we've got to undo the speedometer cable, which is right there, the shifter linkage, which is right up there. It looks like maybe just a little C-clip on that jobby to remove that. And then I think the transmission will be ready to come out. The drive shaft should just slip out of the tail of the transmission, and hopefully we don't have anything else hanging it up. So we'll bang those out now, and let's pull the motor. Now it's not the best lighting in here, but I'll still try to show you. I just think it is so cool that this car is an automatic floor shift and has no center console. I love that the parking brake and the shifter are both just sitting right here on the floor. And I think it is gonna look so cool when we have some sort of high-end shifter right here just sitting on the trans tunnel. It'll almost be sort of a focal point here because there's nothing else around it to distract you. So we're gonna try to get this OEM shifter out. I don't know how to do it, but we're gonna figure that out, and then we'll keep plugging away at pulling the motor. Psych. Turns out the shifter doesn't need to come out. It is mounted to the chassis, not the transmission. So I'm an idiot. It can stay in here, and I think we're ready to pull the motor. That's a big mess. Probably shouldn't be reaching under here a whole lot, but I cannot believe how gunky this all is. I think there's been some sort of fluid kind of weeping out. Don't mind that noise, that's the rest of the transmission fluid draining back there. But this thing is gnarly. I can't wait to get this thing cleaned up, put a new subframe in it. Once that's done draining, we'll keep on pulling this thing. Ooh, that was almost bad. Why can I never remember which way is tight? Engine is finally out of the 4-cylinder car. This thing is ready to receive the brand new 6-liter V8 engine. Thank you for watching, guys.